Hey, good evening. I don't know if I say good evening to YouTube or to constituents of Ward 7 or Riverside, or do I just say hello to everybody that's watching? Anyway, tonight I had my first, what do you call it, public speaking. I got 5 minutes to tell about a little bit about myself, why I'm running, and then I had 5 minutes where there was questions and answers. I only got one question asked of me. And the first question was, only question was, I see you have a domestic violence record. Well, how do I answer that? Let me tell you how I answered it. If I was just a regular Joe going in for a regular job, I do not have to disclose it. If I was working for the police department or some kind of federal, state, government agency, I would have to report it because they can find anything. Yes, I do have a misdemeanor domestic violence charge that has been expunged. Here's the joke about it: the word misdemeanor. Domestic violence in the federal government is considered a felony. But in the state of California back in 2003, when they were playing games with us men, um, they I took a plea bargain. I shouldn't have. I should have done a trial. But it was the first crime I ever did. I was a first sergeant in the Army Reserves. I had taken a leave of absence to become a LAPD police officer, and I chose Riverside as a potentially good area to live. I didn't want to, what do you call it, work and where I live where I work. So anyway, I met this woman. I called the KKK. They were nice people. They told me that if I hook up with her, I won't be a cop. Of course, I laughed. I joked, this is 2000, year 2000. I'm wondering, this must be a television show or something. 7 months later, I got her pregnant and just went downhill from there. Now, did I hit her? Did I beat her up on that day that I'm guilty of? Yes. But you have to understand something. Let's go back a little bit. We were living on Palm. We had cops coming to the house all the time because of our ex. And then we moved to Highland, where the cops came for her because the next door neighbor called the cops on me, thinking that I was beating up on her when she was the one beating up on me. But she was pregnant with our kid. And when the cops came, I told them she was hitting herself and hitting the wall. So, I held her down. Well, they separate us. I never had this experience before. Well, she told them that she was hitting herself, the wall, and me. So I had an opportunity to press charges if I wanted to. I actually have a police report that says what I'm saying. I said, no, she's just pregnant. She's just emotional. I didn't realize until longer into the relationship, this woman's just, when she didn't understand something, she likes to punch. A couple of times I've been cold cocked out because she thought I was hitting her daughter or saying something. Before answering any questions, she just knocked me out. Then after I come through, she, her daughter explained everything and she apologized. As a man who had served in the military for, I don't know, back then, for about 17 years, I've never experienced that. I've never had a woman hit me. I've never had men hit me. If you raise my voice, people calm their ass down. So anyway, this was in Quapaw in Rubidoux, now Harupa Valley. And the reason what happened that day, I had worked at 4 o'clock in the morning as a taxi driver. I came back. I had to go to Army Reserve Unit. And she was supposed to cut my hair. And she's starting to cry. She was a hairstylist. So we had an argument. And I said, I'm going to call your mom. We just had her mom at the house. We made peace with her mom because her mom didn't like it that she was with me because we took the 2 grandchildren away. This is a woman that's lived in a 1-bedroom house for 4 years at grandma's house. So as I'm grabbing the phone, the house phone, to call grandma, she's grabbing her cell phone to call the police department because I'm calling grandma. I hadn't touched her or anything like that, but it ended up where I'm trying to get the phone off of her because she was calling the police, and later I find out when somebody's calling the police, it's a 911 call. It's a felony charge. Again, remember, I've never had this experience before. So we fought for the phone, and I'm frustrated because I've been up, it's Friday morning, up early, and I got to get going. And I got frustrated because she hit me, and I said, "You hit me one more time, I'm going to hit you back like a man." And she did. She hit me one more time. So I hit her back like a man. But I didn't stop. I punched her one for Lance when she was cheating on me. She broke up with me. And the woman had no respect. She was kissing the neighbor while I was gone to visit my kids in England, right out in the open. My neighbors told me, "Why are you taking her back?" This was on Palm Avenue. And then punched her for the neighbor next door, or a couple of obese Anglo-Saxon people who thought they were all that in a bag of shit. So, bottom line is, let's just cut to the chase. If I had gone to trial, if I had fought it, it would have been self-defense. It would have been, I had proof because there was proof that she had done this before. But I was a man who was embarrassed that I hit a woman. So, I paid $3,500 for an attorney to tell me, "Oh, you should just plead guilty. It's only a misdemeanor." Well, the Army Reserves of the federal government does not see domestic violence as a misdemeanor. They see it as a felony. I didn't get kicked out of the military. I had an honorable discharge. And I was supposed to be deployed. And I said, "I'm not getting deployed. I got to try to stay and try to get custody of my kid. I got to take care of my kid." Because, Afghanistan, all that, 911 happened by this time. So I stayed. I used all my money to try to get custody of my daughter. I call her my Ku Klux Klan daughter. She's going to be 18 this November. About 3 years ago, I made a deal because I thought I was dying. And I made a deal to see her and my 5 other kids. So I was able to get all 6 of my kids in a picture, something I've never had done because 2 of my kids live in England. So I got it done, me and 6 kids, although I didn't cut a very good deal because I should have said you have to smile in the picture. So you can see, if you ever see my picture of me and my 6 kids, you'll see that she's not smiling. She's the one that doesn't like me. All because of what Mommy said. What else? What else can I cover on this? Long story short, the reason why we cut a deal is because after many years, this woman had control of me. My 2 adult kids became adults. Her 2 kids became adults. And I was able to show to the court that I raised a 21-year-old kid, bachelor's degree, 22-year-old daughter, bachelor's degree, and she raised adult kids that are just, I'm not going to say, but, long story short, it's this. Their father is a felon for drugs. At the time when I met her, had 11 felony counts. So the kids didn't have a chance. They would have had a chance if they stayed with me. We would have had a good family because I had a good stepfather, so I figured I'm going to make a great stepfather. But it didn't work out that way because I can say whatever I want now because it's over. I paid my dues. The woman is thick and is dumb as hell. She's married to a guy who still is with her, even though she cheated on him. And he called me to give me my daughter back, bring my daughter here, and it was just leverage to get her back into his arms. And when she came back, he changed his mind, and we cut a deal because the court had demanded that they go to a therapy. Flipped it around. I had to pay for supervised visits all those years, and now they had to go to therapy, and it was costing them like $150 a session. So they were cool with me saying, "You know what? Let me get this picture of the kids." We went out there to Nevada, Arizona, right there in that area, California, and with my kids, and we got the picture. And basically, I haven't pursued any more attempts to try to see her because I figured I'll just wait until she's 18. I got a stack full of paperwork on all my attempts to try to get custody of my kid and show her that daddy cared. Daddy loves you, daddy cares. And it didn't work out the way I wanted, but people kept telling me sooner or later, John, you got to just let go and move on. So yeah, I've got 6 kids with 4 different women, and one of them was stolen from me from day one. 8 months old is when was the last time. I ended up getting a supervised visit a month later, and when I grabbed my daughter and held her, she cried for a moment. She fell asleep. We woke up and she knew me. So I had paid for 3 years of supervised visits, $150 a week, $600 a month to see my daughter. Couldn't get any changes because the attorney didn't show me in a little caption that you're not going to get custody of your kid within 5 years because you have a domestic violence charge. So I'm over here, a former businessman. I'm already saddened that I got divorced from my English wife. My kids live in England. I'm traveling back and forth twice a year to see them, bring the kids over here. So I was juggling that part and then having to deal with a woman that I never have to deal with, and the kind of woman that no man should ever have to deal with. And that's the reason why I believe in this, this people that marriage, the arranged marriage, that's much better. Because when you meet somebody and you get hot and horny, you never think about how stupid they can actually be. What I found is that I was attracting women in distress, damsel in distress. People have told me, if somebody needs you, don't help them. Don't hook up with them. And so the purpose of this YouTube channel video is so that way when I go to these meetings, like the one I had tonight, and somebody asks me about my domestic violence charge, I'm going to tell them this. I have a YouTube channel. I've made a video to address this issue, and you're welcome to look it up. Because it took up my 5 minutes to answer questions which I should be able to answer on how I could help my Ward 7 out. And then people afterwards, I asked them what they thought, and they goes, well, you just only stuck on the homeless issue. I'm like, that was the only issue I could get across. You don't get a chance to talk very much in 5 minutes. You can't get all the points. So I'm getting smart. I'm going to make more YouTube channel, videos. And that way, my constituents and anybody that opposes me or is for me can come firsthand and see my YouTube channel and see that I'm trying to be a councilman. I'm trying to move on. Currently, I have custody of all 3 of my kids from 2 different women, 6 years old, and my 7-year-old's about to be 8 on the 26th. So I can say 6, 8, and 14. All right. So how bad can it be? It's 15 years ago since I took the plea deal, and I've been arrested since. Because every time a police officer runs my name, I must have beaten up some woman 6,000 miles away. I must be guilty. And so I can only be ashamed for so long. And for the last 4 or 5 years, I've made it public information that, and I'm not hidden the fact. When somebody asked me about it, I told my side of the story. If you want to go find her out, there's a track record, but the thing is what is it going to do for me and my kid? It's not going to bring my daughter back to me. It's not going to give me all that time I lost. It's something that I have to say, you know what? It was part of life. I learned from it, and hopefully my kids learn from it. Maybe that's why my son's still 30 and not married, because he understands a lot better than I can. But then I didn't have a father at the time to help me grow up. Didn't have a mom. These are not excuses. All I'm saying is at least he has a mom and dad still alive to tell him what's right and wrong, whether he listens to me or not. That's another story. So folks, thank you for listening. Share this if you like. But it's an injustice because I have been arrested since, 3 times after that first arrest. The second time because they figured I must be guilty, so they arrested me. and it was I had went black after the KKK wife. I wanted to show them, hey, you don't like black people? Well, I do, buddy. So I married a woman from Kenya, Africa, um, and she was violent. It took 7 times to call the police, and they finally arrested her because she finally admitted, yeah, I pulled his hair. What are you gonna do about it? She's wearing bell bottoms or whatever, apple bottoms or whatever at the time. Beautiful woman. So, and then they give her an infraction. An infraction. I would have loved to have had an infraction. But you know why she got an infraction? Because she probably was wiser and knew what to do. It was my first crime, my only crime. And I'm ashamed for it, but not anymore. I got to move on. I got to think about my kids. I got to think about being productive in the community. And running for city council is extremely important to me because since I've been here in 2000, the city of Riverside misunderstood me. They misunderstood that I'm actually a good person, trying to do the right thing, and until the cops know who I am, they always harass me and let the criminals walk away. What have I done for this community? I've got somebody in prison named Paul Joseph Quinn III, and because of my indirect help with the CPS case, he was found to have molested an 8-year-old for 5 years. That means she was 3 years old when he started molesting her. So he's doing 40 years. People say, why should you be a city councilman? Because I've done it. I've been out there working, first-hand experience dealing with criminals, homeless people, hypocrites, two-faced folks, and lying sack of shits. So, am I honest? Yeah. Am I transparency? Definitely. The problem with our society is that every time I've been arrested since, the third time was for my last 2 kids' mom. She lied about her son, and her son is incarcerated now because his father is Michael Edward Newhall. He's on the run. He's over there. When I say on the run, not by the law. He's just moved on to Florida, the last I heard, to do whatever he wants to do, con people out of money, whatever. But he left a damage. This man who's 23 had sex with her at 16 and at 18 married her and then had a child with her. So basically, he got divorced. Everything I say is trackable. He's got divorce records, everything. Everything I say I can prove. So I'm not making this stuff up. Anyway, that third arrest I had was because of the kid. He beat up my daughter, my now 14-year-old daughter. I tried calling the police. The mom called the cops, and then I called the cops twice, and they says it's a parental thing. We just got the kid a month ago. CPS knew about this kid, but they didn't give us any information until they took our daughter and took him into CPS care, and that's when I saw the stack of stuff on this kid. I can tell you about it, but it's irrelevant and it's wrong because hopefully maybe at 18 he'll turn himself around, which I doubt because the kid's he's lost it. The fourth arrest I've had was on June 13th in 2017. She's running around looking for this kid that's supposed to be in a group home. She ended up buying, I remember, 2 ice creams and a pizza for the kids. Now I had the kids. I've had the kids. I physically have the kids. I'm taking care of the kids. But we just left it alone where she got food stamp for the kids. She got my social security for the kids. And something else which paid for her apartment. But I took care of the kids. On that day, the cops came. I told them, you need to call CPS. Because to see the way it worked is CPS knows I had the kids. So they left her alone. Because she told them I had the kids. But if the CPS knew that she had custody of the kids, physical custody of the kids, they would have came and took our kids into CPS care. So after that arrest, which was totally wrong, cost me $515, right? The next day when I came out of jail, she handed the kids over to me. But the cops just did me wrong. Said she was here for 10 minutes. She's a meth head, She had an apartment. I helped her get Section 8. So bottom line is, that arrest was completely wrong. And so people say, well, you should be ashamed. You keep getting arrested. No, I'm not ashamed of being arrested because the cops thought I'm guilty because I'm not white, she's white, and the cops are all white, and I couldn't get, actually, there was one really nice cop that day when I got arrested, and I think he got promoted up. Forgot his name. I should remember good people's name. But they did me wrong that day. But I wasn't charged. That's the thing. The first and only crime I committed, you won't find, unless you're a cop working in the department, you won't find my record. But you'll find all my arrest records. And I looked horrible. Because the arrest record, the cop writes down what the woman says. They don't write down what I say. No. And cops don't make any money unless they make an arrest. That's the reason why I'm out there pandering and helping out people that's been brutalized and abused by the police. At the same time, don't get me wrong, I like cops. I want my kids to be cops. I want my kids to be attorneys. I want my kids to be professional, law-abiding citizens. But you know what? I don't want my kids to be a bad cop. I don't want my kids to be a mean cop. I don't want cops around me that think just because I look different than you or I speak like a man that you're going to suppress me. They didn't teach me for freedom of speech for me to, keep my mouth shut. Sorry if this YouTube channel is getting a little longer, and I always say the wrong thing. I know it's a channel, YouTube video is getting long, but I just wanted you guys to thoroughly understand that I've got nothing to hide. I'm a great dad. I'm a great man. I do not have a girlfriend right now because I do not wish to have drama, because it seems like anytime I have a girlfriend, they seem to like to use my past domestic violence history to try to control me. I don't have a domestic violence problem. What I have a problem is when I've had enough of your lying ass, I tell you to leave. If you leave, that's great. If you don't leave, I leave. Okay? A long time ago, I didn't think like that. A long time ago, I would have been fine that day if I had just left. Even though I own the house, it was in my name, I just felt like she should get the frick out. I don't think like that anymore. The only thing I think about is when I get in a hostile situation is take my kids and I into a safe place in front of a video camera, or we turn on our video phones, and that way things are safe for me. I don't care if the woman stays in my house and destroys my house, because you know what? All this, a lot of stuff isn't replaceable, like pictures and stuff, but doing time, waiting for bail to come through, waiting to get back to my kids because of the lies of women that I have come across. Hey, and here's the thing, I don't hate women. I just had a bad spell and I'm fine with it. Okay? The thing is when you play with a woman, you gotta understand something. They are into territory. You belong to them. Okay? So, I'm just one of those guys who say, if I say no, no means no. Alright? You gotta go. It rhymes. No means no. You gotta go. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening. I'm going to sign off here. Hopefully I know